I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call. We are missing Luke Foster and Guy Garcia. Notice to the public. Any members of the public wishing to address the governing board on a topic within the subject matter jurisdiction of the district, but not on the agenda, may do so during the public comment period identified in this agenda. By law, subjects not on the agenda cannot be acted upon by the board except to briefly respond, clarify, and refer to staff for review and presentation at a future meeting. The board president will recognize you for public comment on matters of the agenda at the appropriate time. Correspondence?
None.
Okay. Consent agenda. And public comment, seeing none. And guests and presentations.
None.
Okay, so the director's report.
Okay, numbers on our lunch at the library program. So far, we've served 1,250 meals, and there's more than 2 weeks to go. Last year, we only served 950, so we're up a lot this year. We've had
Nice.
as many as 90 people show up for one of those.
That's good.
Yeah. Summer reading club programs, we've done 6 shows. We've had a total of 680 people attending. So that works out to an average of 113 per show. We had 110 for a ventriloquist, 1 for the juggler, 90 for elephant and piggy. Wild About Monkeys, we had 120 people show up for that one. They brought along 3 baboons, 2 capuchin monkeys, an alligator,
Oh, that's
a
great.
parrot,
Wow.
and a python.
Oh, I bet kids love that.
All the kids got to touch the alligator and python. Any of the adults that wanted to hold either of those got to hold it too.
Oh, wow.
So it was pretty cool.
Did they have the alligator's mouth taped closed?
Yeah.
I remember that
Yeah, you would hope so.
in the past,
Let the
yeah.
kids
Yeah,
touch it.
yeah.
The Barnstormers, which was a rock slash kind of a country rock type group. They drew 80 people. And today we had our biggest crowd ever for a magician. We had 165 people show up. And he levitated one of our staff members, so that was
Really?
kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So far, we've had 561 people sign up for the summer reading club. And Catlin mentioned this a moment ago, but Jim's going to be working with the principal at Gretchen Higgins to give out library cards for back to school night in August. He's going to go to the school with applications, have people fill them out, and then return with the library cards.
Oh, that's great.
And the only other thing is, I've asked Officer Harms from Dixon PD to come to our next staff meeting, and he's going to talk about what to do if there were ever an active shooter situation in the city.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay, that's great.
just trying to improve our relations with the police department, kind of find out when we should contact them and when we shouldn't.
Sure.
Okay,
And that's pretty much it for director's report.
okay, great. Are there any board comments on that? Okay.
Is the 561 pretty much a normal number for the reading program? Is that a,
Yeah, I think last year we had 600, so
oh, yeah, so right in there.
pretty
Yeah.
close, yeah.
That's great. And there were good prizes this year, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year the last 2 years when I was here, we just solicited prizes from local businesses. This year, we just approached the businesses that made donations, and then we used some of the money that the friends donated to buy some extra prizes. So the fidget spinners were like the big thing
Oh,
this
they were a
year.
Oh,
hit,
yeah.
yes.
My daughter did the reading just so she could get that fidget spinner,
Yeah, lots of
That's
the kids
good.
were.
Whatever worked,
and then
right?
she quit.
Oh.
She got, yeah.
Well, that's good. Okay, so ongoing business, the discussion of future governance of library, and this is for information and discussion.
I included in the packet the memo from Scott from last time, since Melissa wasn't here. But that was kind of just where we left off, was
Yeah.
talking about the subcommittees.
Okay,
One of these days when we have all 5 of us here, we'll actually talk about it maybe with our, yeah.
okay. So a subcommittee was different than having,
Right, so we talked about maybe putting together a subcommittee to kind of review some of the budget items before they come to us.
Mhm.
okay,
And I think, I mean, I'd like to see us do that, but I'd also like to see us actually have a conversation about it all together and see how we might structure that and how we might advertise that and that kind of thing. I mean, I don't think there's any reason we couldn't do that, and then they would be sort of advisory to us, but,
But it wouldn't be an advisory
like the commission,
Like the
yeah,
commission?
yeah.
yeah.
Right, no, but not like the commission,
Not-
but it
yeah,
would be, yeah,
okay.
but it would be like a subcommittee, that would, just give us some
More information,
another,
right?
set of eyes, whether it's 3 people or, whatever, and they would be subject to the Brown Act, so they would, they would still have to meet, they could meet at the library, but they would still have to meet in public, and, notice that and all that, that kind of stuff. But, I still think we ought to have a broader conversation about it when we're all here and, make sure that everybody is on the same page about that. But I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't have more review of our budget and discussion around the budget and that kind of thing. I just think that's a good idea because our meetings are so short and,
So with that, I'll just, they'd be the subcommittee and they would have the meetings, but they wouldn't necessarily have any authority. They would just inform us
yeah.
more and then we would,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah, and I mean, so if we wanna do, any other long-term planning, if we wanna do structures and improvements and those kinds of things, they could review bids or they could review, and make recommendations to us, and then that way, cause I mean, sometimes we do see things, for the first time we were here, or we see them the day before, I just think I would feel better if we had more folks weighing in on that, because I just feel like we don't put enough time into some of our decisions, and if we wanna do something bigger than what we're doing ever, I think we ought to have more input.
Okay.
We don't have any public in here really ever to do that, or, with us. And there's been a lot of controversy in the past, and I'd just
They're
like
all
to see.
watching at home,
Oh, yeah.
That's true, yeah.
because of the traffic.
Right, eating tacos and drinking beer and watching at home. Yeah, I think that's true.
Okay, so we'll keep this on future
Yeah, for another
agendas.
time, yeah.
So
Sure.
hopefully we can get all of us here and discuss it.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
there's not any public comment, so we'll move on to revision of policy 3040.9.1.
I've included the old policy and the revision is done by the attorney. We talked a little bit about it last time, but the vote was tabled till Melissa could be here tonight.
Okay, and I did read this over, and my understanding is it talks about the paid family leave and how all pregnant employees will qualify for that, and that the FMLA CFRA, the library, once it gets to 50 or more employees, they will be eligible for that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So are there any board comments on this or questions?
I don't think, this is one we saw last time. This is the same one we saw.
Yeah, same
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, and
Okay.
Scott wrote this up, right?
Actually, one of his assistants,
Yeah, okay,
Josephine Hang, I think her name is.
okay. Yeah, I think it's pretty. Let me just make sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So is there a motion to pass this revision of policy?
I'll move.
Okay,
I'll
is there?
second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I as well. And there's no public comment on that, so new business. So proposed new limit to purchase requiring board signatures.
Well, as of now, the current limit for our spending without board approval is $10,000. And on anything above that, the board president needs to sign off on it. But now we had another person join the staff as being a benefited staff person, the person that we talked about that's 25 hours a week. That will put the bill over $10,000 every month. The bills before were always $96.40, and this would put them over to I think $10,200 or so. So rather than have the board president have to sign every month, I would suggest that we can either make an exception for the medical insurance, or we could choose to raise the limit for purchases requiring the signature up to $15,000.
I would feel comfortable with that one item. I think even on the school board, over 10,000, we have to sign. In fact, I know that. Over
Yeah.
10,000, we have to sign. So I don't feel comfortable doing anything. If it's just the $200 over for the medical insurance, I would feel comfortable with that.
Okay.
But other than that, I mean,
I think it's good for
I've
us.
signed, well, we probably all have signed something over 10,000 for the school board, so I think I'd feel comfortable with
Keeping it there.
keeping it there, yeah.
And it's good for us to know when that money's going out, and then
Yeah.
if there's any questions, because we have to be accountable for it
Yeah.
going out too, so.
Sure.
So, I agree with
Okay.
the medical portion being okay, to be exempt from that, but everything else to still be exempt, so.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds
Uh,
good.
So we need to vote on this, or is there a motion?
I'll move.
Okay, second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. And the approval of the minutes of June 8th, 2017.
Yeah, that's the last thing. There was a glitch with the recording, so there were no recorded minutes from last time. I recreated the minutes from memory. I can't vouch that they're 100% accurate. So I asked the board to suggest changes, but no one did. So to the best of my memory, that's how things went at the last meeting.
Okay.
Excellent.
Okay, so is there a motion?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. And, anything for future agendas? Do you guys have anything? Okay, so I do have something.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and Steve had a phone call, and so did I, from our mayor wanting to buy some of our property. And so I think that's something that we need to be discussed.
So the mayor wants to buy it or the city wants to buy
The
it?
mayor wants to buy it and build a house. So, it was yeah, so,
We have certain rules when we dispose of property or sell property.
yes. And yes, so I just am putting that out there because he did call me and he has talked to Steve, so that's something that we need to discuss.
Does he know how much we paid for it?
I don't know, but I told him that the market's pretty high right now, and so,
It was pretty high when we bought it.
just because, we'd be getting our high market value for anything that we would possibly consider, but
We paid
part of
high-
that, I wanted to see about what our plans are.
We paid high market value when we bought it, so.
Okay, that's
So
good
it
to-
would probably be a break-even thing.
Yeah, well, I don't know if we want to get rid of anything to break even unless it's,
Well, and I think discussing plans is a big, and I don't think it matters who wants to buy it.
I don't-
I think
I-
that the idea is that we should probably talk about what our plans are.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's part of my idea of having a budget subcommittee, right? That we sit down and talk about, what our plans are for property, for the future, for growth, for not growth. I mean, we have building going on in our community and, we're doing new construction on our schools. And, does that mean that we want to grow our library? Does that mean we don't want to grow our library? Do we want to have another library out by we've never talked about any of this. We've never done any future planning. So what does that look like? And so I think it's probably extremely premature to talk about selling any
Absolutely.
property. But I think it probably is timely to start talking about future plans and maybe start having some meetings around that. And I do still want to keep well, it doesn't have to be future governance, but maybe we need to put on formation of a subcommittee on the next agenda.
okay.
And then also maybe something around future planning, future library planning.
And and that would be something that, I don't know, maybe even at a staff meeting that could be discussed about, what are their ideas and
Sure.
what can what can fit into our budget and how we can expand the library. I mean, I think that,
And I think in order for us to hear from staff, we would invite them here as well. I mean, certainly you can represent staff, obviously, but, I mean, if staff wants to come and express we can't go to a staff meeting as a group.
Right.
But if they want to come and talk to us directly, that would also we should extend that invitation through you.
Okay.
You
Yeah, we had
and
a
if-
meeting a couple months ago. I mean, so much of it hinges on this whole thing with the architect and
Sure,
how much it's going to cost to either remodel the Miller Building or to do an addition to the existing building.
yeah.
okay. And do we know when we'll hear back from the architect with what he's working on
Last
now?
meeting I had with him, there were two things. He was looking for plans from the remodel that was done in 1990. And I found just really limited stuff. I found just kind of sketches and then a layout of the electrical, but I didn't find like full plans. I contacted the architect that was involved with it in Sacramento, and I didn't hear from them back.
Would the city have plans? Was it an expansion or was it just a remodel?
It was a remodel.
Okay. Because the city does keep some of those things. I know when we're doing some changes to our home, the city had all of our plans and everything. I don't know if they would have that for the library, but I'm assuming they would.
Yeah, I'm sure they would.
Well, I know
yeah.
when we asked them about the Miller Building, they didn't have anything, but I didn't ask them about the current library.
Okay,
And the other thing that he wanted me to look into was to find libraries in the area that had done recent remodels and then go out and visit them. I gave him a list of the ones, but we haven't decided how we're gonna handle that.
okay. Very
So
good.
That's where
And
that stands at the moment.
it might be a good idea for someone on the board to go and visit some of those with you.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so
So
as far as wording, oh, go ahead.
also on that, with the whole sale of property, can you, maybe ask for a, I don't know, like a timeline of what would have to happen if we were to sell the property? Because I know there's certain rules we would have to follow, you know,
put it in a surplus.
surplus property, then
Yeah.
we have to open it up to other government agencies, something like that. So it's not just an easy process like that, and I don't think that, I mean, even I don't know all the idiosyncrasies of it, so maybe if we had something like that we all knew, then we could all be on the same board, or on the same page with that.
Okay.
Well, and then also if someone was to build a house on there, so there's 3 properties, so there's
Right, just if you
the
rezoned.
farthest one away from the library and then a small one, and then we have a bigger plot that's right behind the library.
Mhm.
And it was the 2 that were over to the, like, looking at the library to the left.
Mhm.
I don't know what the exact properties, the names of the exact ones are. But, and then what would be the issue if we did expand,
Mhm.
having a home right there? That was
Sure.
kind of another thought that I had as well, so.
Yeah.
So probably on the agenda, definitely discussion of future library plans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and any information that we, like John said, both the sale and then the zoning and all those sorts of pieces, so we can talk about, all that information together.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Okay, so we will adjourn this meeting.
Okay.